8:45, this is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by J. Yogaraj, read by Soundithavam. Sri Lanka to offer new restructuring plan to bondholders. New Chief of Staff appointed to the Sri Lanka Navy. A court order issued preventing 10 trade unions from inconveniencing the public. The CBSL says Sri Lanka's inflation to reach 5% during the third and fourth quarters. A special commodity levy on several items raised. India's Calicut airport to have direct air links with Sri Lanka. In news overseas, trailing candidates demand inquiry into Indonesian presidential election. In sports, Afghanistan won the toss and elected to bat first in the third T20 match against Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka sent a new restructuring proposal to dollar bondholders through its advisor Lazard as the South Asian nation seeks to complete overhauling its defaulted debt, according to people familiar with the matter. A counter-proposal to a bondholder group's offer in October for a 20% haircut and the issuance of macro-linked bonds was conveyed through Lazard, the people said, declining to be named because negotiations are private. They did not elaborate on the details of the offer. The government representatives may travel to London soon to meet Sri Lanka's commercial creditors, one of the people said. Completing the overhaul of Sri Lanka's $27 billion of foreign debt is critical to ensure financing from the International Monetary Fund bailout keeps flowing. President Ranil Wickremesinghe said that authorities expect to complete the restructuring within the first 6 months of the year. Calls to Sri Lanka's Treasury Secretary, Junior Finance Minister and Central Bank Governor went unanswered. The representatives of the bondholder group and Lazard weren't immediately available for comment. The government had already struck restructuring deals with official creditors, including China, India and the Paris Club, as well as with holders of its local debt. The water level in the Kalani River has dropped due to the prevailing dry weather conditions. Further, the water resources are also being used for domestic purposes. The water supply and irrigation from the Kalani River has been interrupted due to this condition. The people residing in the close proximity of the river are requested not to use the river water for extensive external purposes. Rear Admiral Pradeep Ratnayaka has been appointed the Chief of Staff of the Sri Lanka Navy. The appointment made by President Ranil Wickremesinghe retrospectively comes into effect from January 16th. The Navy Commander, Vice Admiral Priyantha Pereira, formally handed over the letter of appointment to Rear Admiral Ratnayaka at the Navy headquarters today and expressed his best wishes. Rear Admiral Ratnayaka, educated at St. Thomas's College in Matale, had joined the Navy in 1987 as an officer cadet of the 17th intake in the executive branch. On successful completion of his basic training at the Naval and Maritime Academy, Trincomalee, he was commissioned as a sub-lieutenant in 1989. The senior officer completed his sub-lieutenant technical course at the Naval and Maritime Academy in 1992 and specialized in marine navigation from the Indian Navy in 1997. Advancing steadily in his professional journey, he reached the rank of Rear Admiral on July 1, 2021. He followed his staff course at the prestigious U.S. Naval War College in 2005 and obtained his master's degree in maritime policy from the University of Wollongong, Australia in 2017. In addition, he followed the National Defense course in military science and security studies at the National Defense University of China and was conferred an MSc. Further, he followed the Regional Maritime Security course at the Naval War College, Goa, India in 2016. In recognition of his noble service rendered to the motherland, Rear Admiral Ratnayaka has been awarded the Rana Vikrama Padakama as well as the Rana Sura Padakama twice for his gallantry. Moreover, he was also awarded the Uttama Seva Padakama for his unblemished character and devotion to duty. Rear Admiral Ratnayaka has been issued 4 letters of commendation by commanders of the Navy for outstanding performance of duty and exceptional contributions to the naval service. The Fort Magistrates Court on Wednesday issued a court order preventing a group of trade unions from entering several places in Colombo during a protest march scheduled for today. As the relevant court order, 10 trade unions have been prevented from entering the premises of the Finance Ministry, the Presidential Secretariat, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka and the President's House, or inconveniencing the public or traffic. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. India's Calicut International Airport may soon have direct airlines with Kuala Lumpur, Bangkok and Colombo if the assurances made at a meeting of people's representatives and airport airline officials held in Karipur on Monday are implemented. Malaysia's budget airlines Air Asia has evinced interest to operate services from Karipur to Kuala Lumpur and Bangkok, while Sri Lanka's low-cost airline Fitsia has come forward to fly between Colombo and Karipur. The budget airlines of Malaysia and Sri Lanka stepped in to tap the potentials of Karipur, even as many other foreign airlines remain wary of the Calicut International Airport's future, in the wake of the inordinate delay in resuming services of wide-body flights from Karipur. The meeting, chaired by the Airport Advisory Committee Chairman Abdulsamad Samadani MP, also made assurances about increasing domestic flight services to Thiruvananthapuram and Delhi and international services to Jeddah. Air Asia and Fitsia have expressed willingness to begin services from Karipur with the hope of ensuring connections to countries like Vietnam, Singapore, Australia, China, Philippines and Japan. A government notification has been issued increasing the special commodity levy imposed on several items, including black grams, green gram and cowpea. As such, the special commodity levy on black gram, skinned, either split or not, has been increased to 300 rupees per kilogram. Meanwhile, the tax on green gram, cowpea, kurakan, millet has been raised from 70 rupees to 300 rupees. In addition, a special commodity levy of 25 rupees is in place on maize. The communique issued by President Ranil Wickremesinghe in his capacity as the Finance Minister says the order is valid from February 20th, 2024 through December 31st, 2024. It also notes that importation of maize, black gram, green gram and kurakan is allowed on the recommendation of the Agriculture Ministry. That concludes Local News.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
The Colombo Lotus Tower will be illuminated in red on February 22nd as a mark of respect for and awareness on World Encephalitis Day, the Colombo Lotus Tower Management Company Private Limited said. They said this initiative is part of Encephalitis International's ongoing mission to raise awareness of this devastating neurological condition. The Colombo Lotus Tower will be supporting this movement by joining the many international landmarks worldwide to mark this year's World Encephalitis Day truly remarkable and impactful. That came to you in the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
Moving on to Watchlight, Sri Lanka's inflation is expected to return to the government's 5% target starting from the last 2 quarters of the year, a Central Bank of Sri Lanka official said on Wednesday, as the economy stabilizes from a crippling financial crisis. The economy has shown signs of recovery in recent months, aided by a $2.9 billion International Monetary Fund program after it went into a free fall in 2022 due to a severe foreign exchange shortage. S. Jagajeevan, the director of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka's Economic Research Department, told reporters that inflation is projected to reach 5% in the medium term, which is from about the third quarter to the end of the year. The high base effect from the tax increases is expected to benefit inflation in early 2025 and possibly even bring it lower than 5%. That came to you in Watchlight.
Coming up, World News.
Making headlines tonight, trailing candidates demand inquiry into Indonesian presidential election. Singapore airshow features cutting-edge drones and Chinese passenger jet. And with visitors to Japan in January close to pre-pandemic level. With the count continuing after last week's Indonesian presidential election, unofficial results show Defence Minister Prabowo Subianto still leading the pack. But his rivals are calling for a parliamentary inquiry to look into what they describe as irregularities. Unofficial counts give Prabowo around 458% of the vote, a majority that would make a runoff unnecessary. Ex-Jakarta Governor Anies Baswedan and former Central Java Governor Ganjar Pranowo lag far behind. Asia's largest aerospace and defense trade show kicked off on Tuesday in Singapore. Unmanned aircraft have been drawing attention, including models from the US and Israeli companies. The cutting-edge drones include several that have been used in the war in Ukraine. More than 1,000 companies from over 50 countries and regions are taking part in the event. U.S. company AeroVironment is exhibiting its Switchblade unmanned munitions aircraft. The White House has provided the drones to Ukraine to support the country's fight against Russia. Inbound tourism is on a recovery track. The number of foreign visitors to Japan topped 2.6 million last month, close to the pre-pandemic level marked in January 2019. The Japan National Tourism Organization puts the figure at 2.68 million people. That's an increase of almost 80% from the same month last year. The number exceeded 2.5 million for the second straight month. Back to the headlines of the world news. Trailing candidates demand inquiry into Indonesian presidential election. Singapore Air Show features cutting-edge drones and Chinese passenger jet. Visitors to Japan in January close to pre-pandemic level. That concludes this bulletin of world news, and on to development news. Tourism in Sri Lanka is on a high-growth trajectory, following a boost in Sri Lanka's potential as a must-visit destination. Visa-free travel for tourists from China, India, Indonesia, Russia, Thailand, Malaysia and Japan has provided the right nudge for tourists to put Sri Lanka on the top of their travel bucket list. The electronic travel authorization scheme is valid until March 2024, while the visa is valid for 30 days, permitting double entry from the date of initial arrival to Sri Lanka. Industry sources believe that the boost in tourist arrivals may encourage the visa-free travel scheme to be extended further. That came to you in development news.
Moving on with sports news.
Well, there are plenty of changes across both teams, which is not a huge surprise. Mohammad Ishaq will be making his T20I debut for Afghanistan today and will hope for a positive outing. For Sri Lanka, Kamindu Mendis, Kusal Janit Pereira, Nuwan Tushara and Akila Dhananjaya come in for Binura Fernando, Charit Asalanka, Dhananjaya De Silva and Mahesh Theekshana. Afghanistan won the toss and elected to bat first. Already Sri Lanka won the series 2-0. The pitch looked very patchy and seemed dry underneath. There was a bit of hardness, although there was a bit of turn on offer if the ball pitched in those patchy areas. Changes of pace and not bowling them short could be key for the Pacers, reckons Tino Mavoyo. That came to you in sports news. We take a look at business news next.
Go ekatiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු හින හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The Seat brand's retail presence in Sri Lanka has been further strengthened with the opening of 3 more premium outlets, 2 in Colombo City and 1 in Hanwalla. The 3 new Seat shop-in-shop outlets are designed to drive and enhance customer experience at leading dealer outlets. They are located at UNH Wheel Service and Paramount Tyre Traders, both at Prince of Wales Avenue, Colombo 14, and at Sakura Tyre Centre, Hanwalla. That's business news. Economic news up next.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekatiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු හින හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
On to economic news, the Sri Lanka-Pakistan Business Council of the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, in collaboration with the Pakistan High Commission in Sri Lanka, led a 10-member business delegation to the 3rd Expo Engineering and Healthcare Show in Lahore recently. Spearheaded by the president of the SLBC, Indra Kushal Rajapaksa, the delegation joined over 600 delegates from 70 countries at the exposition organized by the Trade Development Authority of Pakistan and the Ministry of Commerce and Export Development Fund of Pakistan, showcasing sectors such as agriculture, automotive, pharmaceuticals and many more. That's economic news.
Weather report.
The Met Department says that showers or thundershowers may occur at a few places in the Kalutara, Gaul, Matara, Ratnapura and Norelia districts in the evening or night. Mainly fair weather will prevail elsewhere. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in the central and Sabaragama provinces during the morning. The public is kindly requested to take adequate precaution to minimize damage caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thundershowers. This weather report was published this evening at 7:30 p.m. Further details could be obtained by visiting the official website of the department. To conclude this bulletin of news, a recap of the headlines. Sri Lanka to offer new restructuring plan to bondholders. New Chief of Staff appointed to the Sri Lanka Navy. A court order issued preventing 10 trade unions from inconveniencing the public. The CBSL says Sri Lanka's inflation to reach 5% during the third and fourth quarters. A special commodity levy on several items raised. India's Calicut airport to have direct air links with Sri Lanka. Trailing candidates demand inquiry into Indonesian presidential election. And Afghanistan won the toss and elected to bat first in the third T20 match against Sri Lanka. On that note, we conclude tonight's news broadcast, and now it's back to your host, ever ready to take you on a super musical journey right up to the end of transmission and keep you well entertained. All yours, Ramesh.